Welcome to Canva for Education. In this video, we're going to be exploring ways that an elementary teacher might use Canva in their classroom. Of course, if you're not an elementary teacher, some of these tips might still be helpful for you, but we're really specifically looking at creating website headers for our Google Sites, newsletters to communicate information to our parents, and then we'll finish up with looking at some Jamboard background ideas, creating activities in Jamboard and using those with your students. To get started, you're going to go to canva.com/education, and then you'll click this purple sign up now. This will ask you to log in with your Google account, and once you're logged in, you'll get that access to the Pro account for Canva. So I'm going to open up my account right now, and we'll begin by creating a website header. So I can do a website header for my Google site, or if I'm looking for a Google Classroom header, I can do that as well. And you can see that's an option here. So I'm actually going to create this, and I'll just choose create blank. If I'm looking for something specific, I can always type at the top here and search for like a newsletter, or again like Google Sites or something like that. I can type that in. If I know the dimensions of the project that I want to work on, I can also come over here to custom size. So we're going to look at several projects today. This first one will be a digital one. The next project will actually be a print project. So you would print it out and send it home with students, or post it in your classroom, something along those lines. But we're going to look at our Google Classroom header right now. And so first, it's blank. So that's fine. I can create something completely new and it will have nothing on it yet. Or I can use the templates that Canva has available to me. So we're going to kind of walk through the left-hand side of the screen and all of the tools or items that Canva gives you to add to your classroom. Since we chose Google Classroom header, it gave us some templates, and these are really awesome templates. So if you're like, I don't really want to have to design this completely on my own, I just want to use Canva's templates, then these are going to be where you'll start. And so you can kind of browse these. I really like this one. This one has already jumped out to me. And honestly, this is pretty much ready to go for me. Now, if I wanted to change anything, as you can see, if I hover over any of these things, this is what I can change. So if I wanted to change this to say my name, I can add that there. I can also change this, maybe say welcome to, and then Mrs. Margison's class. And so now I need to make this smaller. All right, so I'm going to highlight the text up here, and I'm going to come up to the top, and this is going to allow me to adjust that text. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. There we go. And I'm going to probably do the same thing on this welcome. So Canva is pretty intuitive. It's pretty easy to use. If you've used Google Slides before, Canva will be very similar to that. Let's look at actually creating something from scratch. So I've got this template here, and I'm going to just create a new page on this. So you can see right underneath it, I have add page, and this allows me to add a blank one. So again, I can start with another header in there, but I'm going to use my own ideas. So I'm going to go over to the left-hand side, and the next item that we're going to look at are the elements. And this gives you graphics, shapes, pictures, videos, animations, any of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do a donut theme for my classroom. And I have a few options with donuts. I can get real donuts in there. I can get clip art donuts. You can see some of these donuts, they're going to be called animated donuts. So I can also add those in there. And if I add an animated donut, then I'm going to download that as a different file type. So let's see if I can find a good animated donut. Looks like most of them were at the top. That's fine. We're going to do, how about this heart one here? So here's my donut, and I'll probably put one more on there. Just a regular donut. And then I want to add a class name or something else. Maybe it's like 3rd grade. So I want to add 3rd grade onto my header. So again, along the left-hand side, I'm going to come to text. And similar to our templates, we also have text templates too. So I can look through any of these options here, or I can add my own text. So if I add my own text, I'm going to click on, let's say, heading, for instance. And I want this to say 3rd, and then on the next line, grade. So I'm just typing in there. Again, we saw this before where we can actually adjust the size up here, but I'm going to use these circles and adjust the size in here. So I want it as big as it can be. But what I don't like right now is that there's a huge space between 3rd and grade. So let's look at how we adjust that. Again, along the top, and we'll look at fonts in just a second, but along the top I have all of my text editing. And one of the options right here is spacing. And this allows me to adjust that line spacing to kind of drag it closer together, which I like much more. And now I've got some room to actually grow this a little bit more. And then we'll center it. And now I want to change my font. So I'm going to come back up to the top right here where it says Open Sans. I'm going to click that, and I can browse through my font. I'm going to see if I can get like kind of a round font, rounded. And I like that font. Oh, that looks wonderful. It looks like it could be donuts. So I'm going to just jazz this up a little bit because right now it's just black font. I want it to be a little more fun, a little more color in there. So I have chosen my font. I've changed the size of it. Next, I'm going to change the color. So that A with the little color line underneath it is going to allow me to change the color. And I can customize the color, so I can choose any of these little color swatches here, but I can also come up to this plus button and add a new color, and then kind of adjust that color wheel to whatever I'd like it to be and get that perfect color. I think we have a lot of pinks, so my kids would probably like that I pick blue. So I've got my blue 3rd grade font up there. A few other options that I want to show you in font that are really fun are these effects. And this allows you to add maybe an outline instead of the full font. I can add a little splice, which we saw up at the top here. I can add a lift. I can make it look like neon. Echo. So there's a few options in there. And then I can also curve the text. So of course I had 2 lines, but I could curve the text and then have this donut kind of in the middle. If I curve the text, I can also add another effect to that. So I can lift the text and curve it at the same time. Change that a little bit. There we go. So I'm able to curve that text around the donut, and then we have our little heart donut here. I really like this top one a lot better than I like the bottom one, but we've got a few options in there. So again, elements, I'm going to add any items that I want to, like clip art, shapes, lines, etc. And then I'm going to add some text to this. If I want to add my own picture, maybe I've taken a picture of my classroom, I can come here to uploads and actually add my own pictures. So you can see I've added several of my own pictures so that I can add those to any classroom headers that I'm creating. And then the last option for our classroom headers would be background here. And this is just going to be either color backgrounds or photo backgrounds. I've got some patterns in here, but we can add any backgrounds that we'd like to our header. Let's see if I can get a sprinkle background. Oh, that's pretty close. So maybe I get rid of my dancing heart there. I've got 3rd grade. It's sort of hard to see, so we'll make it white. And then we've got our donut. behind that, and that's our theme for the school year. Maybe this is a good Valentine's Day theme. I'm going to get rid of this one because I really like the top one a lot better. So if I don't want this header anymore, I'm going to click the trash can, and that's going to get rid of that header. All right, so I've created this header, and I want it now to go to either my Google site or my Google Classroom. So how do I get it out of Canva? I'm going to come up to the top and choose Download. And then there's several file types here. So PNG is going to be the highest quality picture, and we're going to just stay on that for right now. And then I'm just going to click Download. It will download here at the bottom, and I'm going to open up my Google site to import that. Okay, so here on my Google site, I'm able to import that picture as my header here. So I'm going to come over here to the bottom left of my header image, which is kind of boring right now. And I'll choose Change Image, and then I'm going to select that picture. So it's going to come in nicely there, and then I've got my picture, my header for parents to see when they come to our website. I can also add this header anywhere else on my website fairly easily. If I want to add this to Google Classroom, I'll just open up my Google Classroom. One thing to note with Google Classroom, and you'll see this happen in just a second, when we add the header image, it is going to put almost like a gray tint over that, and that's just like an accessibility feature. There's really not a whole lot that we can do with that, unfortunately. That's just the way that Google Classroom is, but I'll add that header in there. I'm going to adjust the sides so that we can actually see the entire thing. Select that class theme. And so again, you can see now it's kind of gray. It's not as vibrant as this one was. And that's just, again, something that we have to deal with in Google Classroom. We don't see that in Google Sites, but we do see it in Google Classroom, and we cannot get rid of that. So that's creating a header using Canva for our Google site or for our Google Classroom. So next we're going to look at creating a newsletter. So this is something that I might be printing for my parents. I can come up here to the top and I can search newsletter, and you can see that I've done that before. And it will give me some templates and cute ideas and things. But I can also come up to the top where it says create a design and create a custom size. If I know that I'm going to print it 8.5 by 11, right now I have my width and my height. I want to make sure that I change it to inches, and then I can choose 8.5 by 11. So this will be something that I'll print for parents. I am actually going to use one of the newsletter templates because I think some of these are kind of fun. So I will choose this one. Now with this, I know that I'm going to be printing it. So there are a few things on here that I really need to change because I know that I'm using a printer, like the background color right now. So the background color is currently this like light teal, and that's not super great when I'm printing. So I'm gonna select the background, and you can see there's like a faint turquoise border around it, and I'm just gonna delete that. It's gonna take out that color. I'm gonna do the same thing on my second page. Delete. I can also adjust, and if I zoom in, I can adjust the color of these boxes too. So I can make this maybe a lighter gray. I'm able to adjust that, and it looks like this one has some lines on it too. So what I'm doing here is I'm selecting the object, and that happens to be this sticky note, and I'm coming up to the top and I'm adjusting the colors of that sticky note. So this red is that tape that's over the top of it, and so I can adjust the tape to be a different color. And then I can actually customize this, because right now these aren't my kids, this isn't my announcements, but classroom news, and we're going to say from Mrs. Margison. And I'm going to have this be on one line, so I'm going to need to change the size of my name. There we go. All right, so I start out with that classroom newsletter. Again, if I want to adjust any colors or anything like that, I just select the item and then adjust the color. So I can have like a little theme color here. This is going to be information for my parents. So I'll just say a general welcome message. And then as I scroll down, okay, so I have a picture right here and I actually need to change it because, again, these aren't my kids. So I'm going to select the picture and I'm going to come over to my uploads. And I think I have a couple pictures in here. So if I want to change one of my pictures, I'm just going to click and drag that picture in. And it looks like it has cropped it weird. So I'm going to, again, select that picture. And up at the top, I'm going to crop that image. And we're just going to move it over. If I need to move this little guy here, I can move it up. I can also say maybe this is a welcome back to school. And this would be meet the teacher. And here's information about Mrs. Marchson. So I give more information here, and if I want to add buttons or links or anything like that, I'm able to do that as well. Basically, anytime I select on an item in here, I'm able to link that item to certain things. So maybe this is read more. This is going to link to my Google Classroom or my Google site. So I'm going to click that link option, and then I'm going to enter that URL in right there to link to more information about me as their teacher. So I make all the adjustments I need to my newsletter. I've got the 2 pages here, and now I'm ready to send this to parents, or at least get it off of Canva and into a PDF. I might embed that PDF. I might print it out, add it to my website, whatever I'm going to do. So I need this to be a PDF though. So I'm going to come over here to the right-hand side, just like I downloaded it as an image before. This time I'm going to click download. And I'm going to choose PDF print, and then I'm going to have it download in 2 pages. So I'll click download. It's going to work its little magic here. And then we'll see that PDF open. And so here's our classroom newsletter. So it brings all of that information together. I can add this to my website. I can print it out so that it's front and back and everybody has everything. But this has a nice little template then for my web page or for my newsletter. And I can just continue to use that template and add all of our information to it. There are several templates for newsletters. So this is another great one right here. It's got little text boxes and stuff. If you want to build your own newsletter from scratch, that's fairly easy as well. I recommend creating some kind of template for yourself, and then you can just continue to adjust that template as time goes on. So if I want to add, let's say, like a box for text, I can add a shape. So I'm going to come over here to my elements and do lines and shapes. Add a shape in there. And again, just like we were seeing when we were dealing with our templates, we see the option to adjust the color of these boxes. Now, if I'm going to be printing this, I probably don't want like a colored box. So I'm going to look at all of my shapes, and maybe this is the type of text box that I actually want. So something that I can type inside of, but not necessarily something that is filled with color. And then I'm able to add other elements to it. So maybe this is going to be my October newsletter. So I want to add not just the text box, but I'm going to remind parents, or I'm going to just have some little indicators here that we're doing something with pumpkins that month. And then I also want some, let's see, I'm going to move this. Now this is going to be information about math, so I might add, you can see there are so many animations here. Actually, let's go ahead and do an animation one, and then we'll add it to our website. So I know I said math, but let's go ahead and make this science. Okay, so we've got our little science stuff here. and we're going to add some information to these boxes. Of course, it's probably going to be smaller. That's okay. So here's my science information, and our class news will go here. And then I want another box right next to that one, and I'm going to extend these down a little bit. Move my little science guy, and I want a reading one. Okay. So let's see what we have for reading. Oh, there are a few good ones. So some students reading in here. We've got some animated ones. Oh, I love this one. Great. So I have our science information or math or whatever it is. I have my reading information, not centered. And now I want a little banner at the top too. And we're going to call this Not Feeling Cute. We're going to call this School Family and make it a lot smaller. Connections. And then again, let's say I want to change the colors of these. So I'm going to change my school family one to be a darker blue. It looks like it has an effect on it. So I've just selected these as a template here, and so I can adjust those as needed. And I fill out all of my information. This is my beautiful classroom newsletter, and maybe each of these headings changes sometimes, but you know, some of this stuff stays the same. I change out my icons and all of that stuff. So I get all of this information ready for parents, and I'm going to embed it on my website because I like this little animation here. So how do I embed it with that animation? I'm going to download this, not as a video. I'm actually going to download it as a GIF. So it works like a picture, but it will download and it'll still play that animation. So let's see what happens here. We're going to download it, and I'm going to come over to my teacher webpage, and we'll call this newsletters. I'll clean some things up here a little bit. And I'm getting ready to add that newsletter that just came through to my web page here. So I'm just going to click and drag it onto my web page, and I can adjust the size. Maybe center it. And now you can see I've got this little animation there, and that's then available for my parents to read that information. And I can always send this home too. So if I want to also print this, what happens to the animation, right? If I just choose PDF print, and I open that, it's just going to take that animation and basically pause it. It will pause the animation. So I can still print this as a PDF or print it and actually send it home with parents. But then on my teacher webpage, it has that cute little animation. So those animations will also show up if you use like the headers. So on your Google Classroom, you could use this and have that header actually move for the students on Google Classroom, which is kind of fun. All right, the last option that we're going to look at is creating something, let's say for Google Slides or Jamboard, something along those lines. So I'm going to use the presentation template because that will have some options in there for me. And so I'm going to choose this education presentation. And then again, look at all of these awesome templates I get, and I can use these just really as backgrounds for the students to actually do something in Jamboard or in Google Slides, or I can put all of the content on there for them and send it off to them exactly how I want it to look. So I'm going to choose this one here, and this is going to be kind of a blank template for the students. So I'm going to select that template for them, and then I really just want to get rid of this text. So I'm going to come up to the top and I'm going to click delete, and now I want to add this to my Jamboard. So maybe I've added whatever I needed to it. The students are going to be writing their name on the computer screen, we'll say, and I want to get this out of Canva and into Jamboard. So I'll come up here to the top. I'm going to download it as a PNG. And then I'm going to come over to Jamboard, again, or Google Slides, and I'll create a new one. I'm going to set it as my background and upload that image. So really anywhere that I can add a picture, I'm able to create something on Canva and then have that picture be added there. So now this picture is not movable. So you can imagine the kind of backgrounds that you would be able to create in Canva and then add those very easily to Jamboard, Slides, wherever you need to add that for students. And then students can take those tools and write their names. So that is Canva. When you start getting into here, you're going to see all of your projects and anything that you've created, but it will notice that you're a teacher and it knows that you signed up for an education account. So it will also give you some templates. One that I found this morning that I really liked are flashcards. So it actually has templates for flashcards, which you would then be able to build those flashcards. And look at these are amazing. And all of them are free. So you've got these little flashcards here, and maybe I make these for my students. And then I print them out and we do whatever we need to with them. This looks like it might even be like almost like bookmarks. So I could print this for students, we could laminate them, and then I have it on my students' desk, and as they're writing, they can check off. Do I have capitals? Did I check my punctuation, spelling, grammar? And did I use my best effort? So a lot of really cool things in here for teachers, and it's so easy to use, and I just really think you're gonna find that pretty much anything you wanna create, you can create using Canva. Of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to our team and ask us for any help that you need. In order to get your PGPs for today, create your free Canva for Education account, create a project on Canva, download that project as a PNG file, and then submit the file to our Google form.